Hey, what's going on, scholars? It's your professor here, Enlisted. Who doesn't love a belt-fed machine gun? Wasting squads with a well-sustained burst is one of the most satisfying things you can do in Enlisted. So today, we're going to go over the types of machine guns in-game, how to use them effectively, and to give you guys my recommendation on which ones to use to get to your max killing potential. Get some! So if you didn't know, there are MGs in the game. I know, a shocker, right? Well, what you might not know is that there are 3 different types of categories for these firepower boomsticks. We have the running gunners, the traditionalist, and the stationary emplacements. Some of these unlocks can function as a hybrid between the categories, and we'll go into those later in the video and which ones you should use for each campaign. Alright, the running gunner MGs are by far my favorite to use. Their versatility is unmatched. They usually have a lower magazine capacity, medium recoil, and good stopping power. Pretty much every campaign and faction has at least one running gun MG. If you're still confused what I'm talking about, think the MG13 or like the BAR-A2. In-game, you should use these guys aggressively, making them honestly like assaulters, just pushing objectives as aggressively as you possibly can because these are basically assault rifles. The best part about these LMGs are they are good at medium ranges. Pretty much all of them have really good sights as well, so you can be able to hit even longer shots if you do brace with them. My standard loadout is going to be the large ammo pouch as sidearm because switching to your sidearm is always faster than reloading. And of course you're going to want that trusty explosive pack. Perks are always dependent on how you play the game, but you can never go wrong with aim speed or reload speed with these guys. Alright, let's say you're more into realism and supporting your team from a distance. Well, you're going to need to have a weapon that has a bit more ammo capacity than those running gunners. Bracing is going to be your best friend, and you have to be very confident in your positioning, so level knowledge is very important with this class. Generally speaking, I find these types of LMGs to be better on the defense, but you can push objectives while hip firing, but be in mind that reloads are significantly longer than say like a BAR. Probably the biggest pro for this type of weapon is it can absolutely waste multiple squads because of those larger ammo capacity. I will admit that mostly German machine guns fall into this category of the LMG, but there are some Russian ones that do it as well. Loadout wise, I always go with the large grenade pouch so I can have multiple explosive packs. If you have any leftover swords from any of the events, I would suggest giving them to these kinds of LMG guys because you can run so much faster with them and get into position. I generally do not give these guys pistols because I don't think it's really worth the cost ratio for you to get anything out of it. Perk wise, I tend to go for vitality as it is the best perk overall. Reload speed isn't bad, but I would avoid things like aim speed because you're going to be braced most of the time. Being able to change poses very quickly is also a really good perk for you to consider. Pro tip, if you like playing this type of LMG, I would suggest that you change your key binding for brace to the caps lock button because you can get into position without having to move your hand. Alright guys, we have one more category to go over for the LMGs before I can get into my recommendations on which ones you should use for each campaign. Stationary emplacements are what you see on the level and the ones that you can build with Engineer 2s. Currently, these emplacements are always the MG42 with unlimited ammo, but they can overheat. If you're a longtime veteran of the game, then you know that this category got significantly nerfed with the inability to zoom in now. Even with this nerf, do not count out these emplacements because they can turn the tide of a battle significantly. If you don't believe me, go play the Normandy beach landing map as the Allies, and if you push past the first 2 points, I promise you will win the game. If you have the Engineer 2 and you like to build the MG nest, I would suggest that you build them on the flanks to cut off routes or to put them to cut off a frontal area. But be warned, they can be shot off and rendered useless. Quick pro tip though, if you have your MG shot off, you can actually repair it with the Engineer so long as the sandbags stay alive. Another category I want to talk about within this subcategory is the motorcycles. They are the glass cannons of Tunisia. They are super deadly however, so do not sleep on those. I've already done a video on how to use motorcycles effectively here in the game, so I'm not going to harp on this too much, but if you want to watch that video, I will put a card of it at the end of the video. Alright, so you've made it this far in the video and you want to know which one is the best to use on each campaign. Well, for Normandy, it has to be the BAR-A2 for the Allies. This bad boy is literally the counter to the FG-42 spam, with a modern assault rifle level of accuracy thanks to its sights. For Moscow, it is a very close race and very hard for me to choose between the Axis and the Allies, but I'm going to have to give the advantage to the Axis because I think they have better options with the MG-34 and the MG-13, but don't sleep on the ZB-26 because that thing is super awesome as well. Of those three I just mentioned, I would have to give the advantage of all of them to the MG-34 because it has 50 rounds, it's really versatile, you're able to hip fire and clear out an objective, and you're also able to get that prone, lay down accurate fire. For Berlin, the king has got to be the dual drum mag MG-34 for sure. With good sights and 75 rounds, this thing is a straight killer and a bit of a hybrid between both the running gun class and the traditional support and fire class. For Tunisia, I gotta give it again to the BAR-A2. I mean, this thing is just too good, and it's even better in Tunisia than it is in Normandy. The MG-34 is in that campaign as well, but it just cannot hang with this bad boy. Overall, I would say that the Axis have the better LMGs, but the Russians are a close second, with both of them having good, high ammo count, great sights and such. The Western Allies really only have the BAR. The Brin is horrible, and don't even get me started on the Vickers. It would make sense that the Axis have better MGs because their infantry doctrines were designed around using them, while the Allies tended to care more about fire teams working independently of each other. And if you want to know what the best premium machine gunner squad is, well, I made a video of that as well. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and as always, scholars, hit those books and hit those bottles. Cheers.